are listening to Elevate with Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd. Ask us about relationships. Ask us about birth. We talk about health and well-being. Elevate with Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd is about the holistic treatment of people. You are listening to motivatingradio.com. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Grand Rising, and welcome to Elevate with Dr. Cheryl on Motivating Radio. It is a pleasure to have you join us today. I am Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd, PhD, licensed professional counselor supervisor, licensed midwife, and preceptor. I am the owner and operator of the Tree of Life Birth, Counseling, and Wellness Center, and the owner of the nonprofit Completely Fit, A Healthy Lifestyle. We serve individuals, families, and organizations by focusing on your mental and maternal wellness. Come learn more and ask any questions you have by visiting us here on the radio station, or you can also visit us at treeoflifewellnesscenter.com, and we are completelyfit.org. You can also email us at treeoflifedfw. Let me correct that. You can email us at treeoflifewellnesscenterdfw@gmail or completelyfitahl@yahoo.com. Also, don't forget to follow us at Tree of Life BCW and completely_fit_midwifery_care. And of course, you guys always know you can reach me at 214-912-2614. On today, I am super excited to bring to you none other than Miss Lea Fleming. She is born in Kansas City. She is the oldest of two siblings. She is a former resident of Dallas, Texas. She's here to debunk the myths of therapeutic treatment for the Black woman. Lea, thank you and welcome. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good. Thank you for joining us. I know that there are a lot of myths about therapeutic care, what it looks like, what it could look like, all these different things. But I do know that those myths keep women that look like yourself and myself from coming in and seeking the mental health and wellness that we so deserve. So before we jump into talking about your therapeutic journey, why don't you share a little bit about us? Who is Lea?
Well, Lea, born under the sign of Sagittarius. I am loving, compassionate, smart, caring, ambitious, a trailblazer, and non-judgmental. I'm not afraid to blaze on my own trails, even if it means going it alone.
I love that. And it's fair to say that you've learned these characteristics about yourself. You didn't always see yourself as serving in this great capacity, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Came with a lot of insecurity. I just wasn't sure of myself. Just kind of lost.
Yeah. Okay.
Just lost.
Well, take us back a little bit, and let's start there because the person you described, I already know you to be that phenomenal woman, right? But sometimes it takes us going back a little bit and taking a look at our journey. And whatever you feel comfortable sharing, I'd like for you to just share with us a little bit about kind of what started this therapeutic journey for you. When did you realize I need something else?
Well, in the beginning, I don't know that I could say I needed something else. My therapeutic journey started, I was 14. I was molested. This created a bunch of depression. So at 14, I started seeing a therapist. They specialized in childhood trauma. And at 14, I don't know that you really sold on anything. I went because my mom made me go. But I hadn't bought into the idea at that point of therapy.
Okay. Do you remember any ideas you did have about therapy during that time? When you were 14, like what was your ideas about this thing they called therapy?
Well, in the beginning, I was angry, because I grew up in a house where when you talked about mental illness, it meant that you were crazy.
Mhm.
So, I really wasn't open to the idea, but the therapist I worked with, he was kind, he was compassionate, and he was firm, and he said a lot of things out there that as time went on and I got older, I could use. But in the moment, I don't know that any of those things really helped me because I wasn't open to the idea of therapy.
Mhm.
I was kind of closed off because I came with a closed mind,
Yeah.
based on how I was raised and, what people I knew thought about therapy, a psychiatrist, mental health medications,
Mhm.
because I took medications, quite a few of them.
Mhm.
And so um, I was angry because I felt different.
Yeah.
You know, Nobody else I knew was going to a therapist,
Mhm.
a psychiatrist,
Mhm.
inpatient therapy.
Mhm. Yeah. It's amazing that you say that because I am the queen of be different. I am the queen of be different. Walk in your own beauty, your own glory, right? Be different. That is my motto. And for a long time I can relate to that because going through some of the things, similar things that you've gone through as a child, I remember thinking not only was I different and I didn't like it, but I was ugly and there was something bad about me. And of course, we all get that message I'm not good enough, right?
Yeah,
And then sometimes we overcompensate in ways that causes us more injury, right?
yeah,
Because we're looking for love in all the wrong places. We're looking to be accepted in areas that's not meant for us to be accepted in anyway, right? Because we're running from a gift that was given to us, and that was the gift of being different. We don't know how to explore that gift. We don't know how to understand the uniqueness of self, and so in that, sometimes we can get a bit lost. And so from there, that started your journey. For you, did that get you to a place where you were stable, or did you find yourself in other predicaments? And at what point did you find yourself seeking therapy for yourself?
Well, um, as time went on, I became an addict. I self-medicated regularly. Matter of fact, all day long. Um, it wasn't until I was in my late 30s that I decided I wanted to do something different. I still didn't know how to do anything different. Um, Going through various treatment programs, I was exposed to some different therapists. Took some other meds, and I think each time got another piece to the puzzle. And as time went on, I started to enjoy therapy,
Mm-hmm.
because I could go in and I could say some things, sometimes not appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
with no judgment. Nobody
Absolutely.
ever looked at me like, well, no, she didn't just say that.
Yeah.
But
So
I was able to,
it's important to have that space, that non-judgmental space. If you want me to be transparent, if you want me to be raw, I have to feel safe.
yeah. Safe,
Yeah.
I think, is the key word.
Yeah.
Um, Knowing that you're speaking to someone with no judgment and you don't have to worry about the things that, you guys have spoke about being talked about. Most times when you have conversations and you're talking to people about what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
if people can't relate, people tend to talk about it. So
Yeah.
I could go into therapy, I could set things on the table, um, and I started learning how to take suggestions,
Yeah.
ask for some guidance, not so much advice, but just set some things out there for me
Yeah.
that I can, experiment with a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes they worked, other times they didn't. And sometimes I'm going to say it didn't work because I wasn't working it.
Come on. Now you
you
know that's
know.
my favorite thing to talk about right there, honey. We can listen, if you want to build a house, I can give you all the tools, but if you never pick up that hammer and you never pick up that nail and 6 months down the line I go, hey, where's your house? You gotta look at yourself and say, well, I have to take accountability for why my house isn't built, right? Which
Exactly.
actually brings me back to this. So at some point you went from thinking, I'm gonna go to therapy for my mom, or I'm gonna go because someone's telling me to, and you embrace the idea that there was a need for you. What exactly happened that caused you to wake up?
Well, there was a series of things. Like I said, I had been addicted to heroin and cocaine for 25 years. And it just wasn't working for me.
Hmm.
I tried various combination of things and they didn't work.
Well, when
And
you
so,
say work, what do you mean? Like, you're not saying it wasn't getting you high. What do you mean when you say it didn't work?
well, I was going through the motions. It was no longer fun. It was a job. Um, it was affecting my mental health because um, my drug addiction created a psychosis. And when I first heard about it, I thought something was wrong with me, and I found out that my psychosis was due to drug addiction. So when I used, this triggered my psychosis,
Hmm.
and um, I was out of control. And so um, I still hadn't bought into therapy and recovery at that point. I would go and I would talk to a therapist, but I'd take the pieces I wanted to work with. You
Hmm.
know, um, if she put a smoker's board of things out there for me to choose from, like 1, 2, 3, this is how this goes. I wanted to take 5, and then I wanted to do 2, and then
Hmm.
I don't want to do that part. And so therapy wasn't effective
Hmm.
because I wasn't I wasn't doing what was advised,
Got it.
And so I spent a lot of time spinning my wheels. It wasn't until I got serious about recovery and understanding that recovery wasn't just stop for me to stop using. It was, mind, body, and soul. I had to work on some things,
Yeah.
the mental part, the spiritual part,
Hmm.
the physical part. So
Speak
it
my language.
it was quite a few parts,
Yeah.
and I had to become open minded,
Yeah.
take some suggestions,
Yeah.
and I got to seeing this therapist in Texas. Um, I wasn't too sure at first. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see, and I was going weekly. In the beginning, I went sometimes 2 times a week,
Hmm.
and I just kept showing up. And as I look back now, I realize I was really off balance,
Hmm.
but she always made me feel welcome. Um, she said information out there. There was literature. Sometimes there was some assignments. She had some papers that she would pull out of, her notebook while she was over there writing all the time. And, I used to always wonder what she was writing about because she would just be writing away. But I kept going. I kept showing up. I kept doing the things that was asked of me.
Hmm.
Um, it was a journey. I have been with the same therapist for 7 years.
Beautiful.
When I left the recovery center, before I left, I had to have a doctor, a therapist, a dentist, and I put all those things into place.
Hmm.
And when I showed up in Dallas, I didn't know anyone.
Hmm.
What I knew was the therapist. I knew how to get to the therapy office. I knew how to
Hmm.
get to the doctor and the dentist and a meeting. Outside of that, I didn't know anything else. And so I leaned on her. I was really willing to be brutally honest about things I had always lied about
Yeah.
or tell you the beginning and the end and forget the middle.
Yeah.
Um, at some point, I bought into the idea that this was working. So, I looked forward to those meetings, and I wasn't late. I was on time. I might stay a few minutes later, you know. I just, everything that I had bought into or that I was taught about a psychiatrist in therapy, I found it not to be true. And
Yeah.
so I continue to say over and over again, I tell people all the time about therapy.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
there doesn't have to be a bunch of bad things going on. I just believe that, if you just need to set things on the table, it's a safe place without judgment,
Absolutely.
um, where you can get some tools to work with. See, my
Mhm.
toolbox was empty. I had probably some pliers and some tweezers in there, something that don't even go in there. So my box just rattled all the time. N- Today, I have like a hammer. I mean, I have some things in there I can work with. And
Yes.
when it's critical and I'm not really sure what to do, I can reach out. I can be
Yeah.
still. I don't
Yeah.
have to always react to what it is. Sometimes, just because I've been in therapy almost 7 years, I don't always have the answer, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Um, I use prayer with therapy. It's not just therapy, you know.
Right.
Um, sometimes I have to put that spiritual part in there with the therapy.
Yes. Open your toolbox. That's what's in your toolbox, right? That's what's
Yeah,
in your, and that's the thing is your toolbox. So it works for whatever works for you. Not everybody is the same, right? And I think sometimes that also may scare people that therapy is cookie cutter. But I tell clients all the time, I'm not a cookie cutter therapist, right? So the notes and stuff, right? That's for really being able to individualize treatment for your client and to really try to, meet them where they are to help them get to where they want to be, right? And part of it is also realizing that we're all human. We all struggle, says the therapist with a therapist, right? We life be lifing. So it
yeah.
is important to have lifelines, right? It's so important. And you also said, some things that I really love, which I love your toolbox is open because I hear all of your tools flying around right now as we talk, right? But I love the idea of recognizing that you are a whole person, right? Many times we think that, oh, let me go over here and take care of this. Well, you don't understand that this is connected to that and that and that, right? And so you can't just take care of one thing and think the rest of it. You can't wash one spot off of a dish and say that dish is clean, right? You
That's
have
right.
to maybe stain treat an area. You may have to triage an area to see where you put it or whatever. You may have to look at what is my immediate need right now. Do I need to just go for a walk and let go of all the things that's going on around me? What is my self-care routine for today? How am I taking care of myself, mind, body, and spirit? Right? And so I
Yeah.
absolutely love listening to you because even as I'm listening to you, I hear your elevation. I hear you. I see your phoenix rising, right? So continue. Like I absolutely love this journey. I love listening to how the reality of it is this. You fear what you don't know.
Yeah.
And even when you start exploring it, there is some hesitation. But if you find yourself in the right place at the right time, surrounded by the right people, the support you need on this journey to go the way you want to go, you'll have it. But here's the thing: it is work. Work. Never have I seen anyone move forward without mobility, without motion, without doing
That's right.
something. So I want to applaud you on today, Leah, because at some point you said, I don't want to go through the motions anymore. And I'm saying yes to me. And you chose to do that. And now, in saying yes, is that what moved you from Kansas to Texas?
Um, my drug addiction. Um, well, I was going to treatment, and
Mm-hmm.
so I went to treatment in Texas. Um, I don't know. I never thought about the second piece until I got to treatment and I started listening to someone. I thought I was going to go to treatment 45, 60 days and go back home. And it was suggested that I do something different. And so I was real uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was uncomfortable in addiction, but I understood that part. You know,
Yeah.
I knew what that looked like. Um, to go to a whole nother state and you know no one.
Mm-hmm.
I had a carton of cigarettes and $123 and three pair of pants and two shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't have any idea about anything. Um, it was the greatest move I made. It was the greatest move I made.
Yeah.
Once
And
I
you did
got
it.
there,
And you did it in fear.
oh yeah, a whole lot of fear. You know, even with therapy, I still encounter, um, I'm going to say sometimes a lot of fear.
Hmm.
But today, with that fear, I can reach out and let you know this is what I'm feeling. I don't have to go use. I can link up with my therapist and we can discuss, what I'm feeling. And we can also look at why I'm feeling this way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is it about this situation that has me feeling like I'm less than or I'm not able to meet the mark? I think a lot of my addiction had to do with an inferiority complex, just feeling like I was never good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And today, with some therapy, um, I haven't arrived. However, I know that I am worthy
Mm-hmm.
and I am enough. Whatever shortcomings I may have today, they can be worked on, but I bring enough to the table today where I'm most times comfortable
Good.
in my skin. And usually when I'm not comfortable, um, it's because I'm going to elevate to another level. But I didn't understand that in that moment.
Right.
And once I've reached that next level and I look back, I'll be like, okay, that wasn't that bad,
Right.
But that's what therapy did for me. And I
Good.
mean, um, it's not all roses. It's a lot of work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm up for the challenge today.
Beautiful. Listen, if you want to challenge me with being my best self, I understand that's going to come with some discomforts, right?
Yeah.
It's in the discomforts that we grow, right? I don't know about you, but in order to get, a lot of times, in order for something to live, something has to die. In order for us to go outside and grow something, we have to dig and till up that ground. There's hardness out there that we have to plow through, for us to get on that other side and reap the benefits of the reward of the hard work that we put in. Today's theme is about work, Leah. That's what we're talking about, right? And so I know you to be one to work, no matter how hard it is, right? And it's something to admire in watching someone elevate, to actually watch them choose themselves every day. And this is not, and you're right, because it's sometimes a journey in which you have to choose yourself every moment.
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
right.
and that's a lot of work. But I've never seen anyone not be successful by doing self work, you know. And speaking of it, it's a difficult journey, whether you have things you're trying to recover from. Because, see, recovery is more than just about addiction in the sense of narcotics or,
Yeah.
we have eating, we have gambling, we have sex, we
Yeah.
have compulsive, obsessive things that we do. We have, it manifests in other ways. Overthinking, like there is a lot. Overcompensating, retail therapy. There is a lot. When I find myself on this shopping frenzy, I know something is not right within me, and I have stop, take a breath. What's going on? What are you deflecting from? What are you trying to avoid? And so, with that being said, you've shared quite a bit, but is there anything that sticks out to you as something that has been the most challenging thing on your journey of healing?
Well, I think the most challenging thing was, I guess, when I returned, I went back to school at
Mm-hmm.
50,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sitting in a class with a bunch of 21, 19-year-olds. And so I felt that insecure feeling creeping in and less than and inadequate. But they were just my feelings because a lot of those young people, they got next to me and up under me. And, we did study groups and, they text me and they showed me how to work the computer. And before I knew it, I was on the dean's list. Um, so returning to school at 50 was hard for me. Um, but today, I'm uh, I'm moving on and I'm working on my bachelor's degree as I speak. So
Good.
that just lets me know that with some hard work and
Mm-hmm.
just perseverance, just doing the next right thing.
Yeah.
Continue to work on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to just address sometimes what's before me. Not worrying about the things over on this side and that side, just what's before me.
Yeah.
Um, it just lets me know that anything is doable.
I love that. I love that. So, with that being said, of course, the flip side of that is, you know, what has been some rewarding things on this journey for you?
Well, rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
I've created, um, I've reconnected with my family.
Good.
I don't always agree with them,
Mm-hmm.
but today we're able to sit at the table um, and have a discussion. Don't always go the way we want it, but just working on myself allowed me to be open-minded and just accept them as they are and them accepting me as I am.
Okay. Okay.
Other rewards. There were a lot of rewards in recovery and therapy.
Got it.
Things I never thought about. I never thought I would be able to supervise. I thought I would just go to a job, clock in, and leave.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I am supervising on the job I'm on. I'm in the community. It's not just about just me today. It's about more than me. I wake up with the thought that I'm gonna help somebody every day. So it showed that soft side of me, and it's okay to have a soft side. It doesn't mean you're weak. I learned that in therapy also. You know, um, it's just good to help somebody else. That helps me help me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. It's absolutely beautiful. One of the things that I remember, and I remember struggling with, um, and maybe I don't know how you feel about this, but it's this idea of teaching people how to treat you, right? I feel like across the board, when we do that, it allows us to let people understand like what our desires are. But I also know in families and in friendships and in offices, there are homeostases in which people see you in a certain realm or they see you in a certain light, um, in which they've treated you a certain kind of way. And with therapy, when you learn that you have every right to teach people how to treat you through setting healthy boundaries, um, it can be difficult, right? Especially with families that don't understand what you're doing, right? Like, where is this coming from? Who are you? But it is so necessary. And so, even with starting out with with setting healthy boundaries with my family, it was like, what's going on with you? Why are you acting weird? Oh, you being bougie, or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. It's like, no, I just care about me, and I want you to care about me enough for me to tell you what that needs to look like. And not everybody is receptive of that, right?
No.
And then that's when you set that healthy boundary within yourself to say, do you continue to allow yourself to be in spaces in which you're not safe, in which you're not seen, in which you're not cared about? And then you have to set healthy boundaries with yourself, in which you have to then navigate what's best for me right now, right?
Yeah.
For you, I'm hearing you say things like, I didn't think that I would be able to supervise, and I didn't think that, but we know that that comes from your growth. That is a part of your elevation, and that is because I truly believe that Leah shows up as Leah, and the only way she can do that is by making sure she sets her healthy boundaries. Has setting healthy boundaries been a challenge for you?
Oh, of course. Uh, in the beginning, before therapy, I was a people pleaser. So um, it was never about me. It was always about how you going to handle me if I tell you no. Well, I think the healthy boundaries, especially within my family, has taught me how to say no and
Hmm.
say no and mean no when I say no. Because I could say no and be like, okay, today, if there's something I really believe in or I feel strong about, it's no, and it's okay if you're not okay with what I'm saying. As long as I'm delivering the message respectfully,
Hmm.
it's important that you understand that those things are not working for me and they're not good for me. And
Absolutely.
so um, I sometimes have difficulties in dealing with my mom, because, I was raised in a family that it's just, you just don't say no to your mother.
Uh-huh.
And what I realize now is that um, you do say no. There are times you are supposed to say no.
Yeah.
Everything is not yes, you know. It doesn't mean you love her any less. It just means that this is just not working.
Right. And I love that and I tell people all the time, because sometimes people struggle with the idea of setting healthy boundaries. And I tell them all the time, don't look at it as saying no to the individual person. Look at it as saying yes to yourself. Yes, I deserve to be loved. Yes, I deserve to feel appreciated. Yes, I deserve to be seen and understood. You know, especially if I'm doing the things right that are required to be seen and to be heard. You know, um, don't always think of it as a no, as it is more of a compromise or a different way of seeing it or a different way of being, right? We are the professionals of ourselves. I say that all the time. And a lot of times we will override that professionalism that we know about ourselves to please other
Yeah,
people. As a people pleaser, I knew that, just by saying I'm uncomfortable with something made me feel like I'm saying no to that person. And then in my head, I wonder how they're going to feel about
exactly.
about me not wanting to be uncomfortable. Basically, that's what it boils down to, right? How are they gonna feel me telling them that I don't want to be uncomfortable? We should never be in a situation where someone else's comfortability overrides our discomfort. Now, of course, again, there's compromise, there's communication, there's navigation, but I don't think you can do that without truly understanding who you are in that space with that other person, because you're just as valuable as they are.
That's
You
right.
should matter as much as they do. And I think that once we can see outside of just ourselves and be able to see ourselves in relation, then we tend to communicate as such instead of just communicating as if it's just me in this space, right? I want to
Right.
communicate in a way that I allow you to be in the space with me. And that means I can choose to honor who you are and where you are and what you need in that moment. And it may not be where I am, or it may not be what I think where you should be. But at the end of the day, I understand you're the captain of your ship.
Yeah.
I can't tell you full speed ahead when you feel like All I got today is slow and steady. I'm gonna have to learn how to ride with slow and steady. If I'm gonna ride with Leah,
That's right.
right?
That's
And
right.
so I love that you're letting people know if you get in this automobile with me, I am the captain of the ship. You're gonna have to ride the way I ride. Or you're welcome to ask me to stop and pull over and let you out.
That's right.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. So is there anything that you would do differently on this journey, Leah?
No. And the reason I say that is all those situations and predicaments made me who I am. Um, I believe that all those different pieces, although some of them weren't what I wanted them to be, it made me strong enough to handle this moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love doing shadow work because it helps me to tap into and to have gratitude for where I came from, right? Had it not been for all of that, I wouldn't be the woman I am today. Now the question becomes, what woman is that, right? And that's one that I've chosen to be, not one that was dictated to me. Because if I was her, I too would be addicted and probably out of my mind, right? I too would be probably out there trading favors for favors. I too would probably, be narcissistic and, conniving and all these different things that you see people who have struggled mentally out there doing, and you go, oh, they should be ashamed of themselves. But what you don't understand is that we all have had a journey.
Yeah.
We all had a journey. And people didn't just show up like that. Life sometimes gets you there. And I am just so grateful for having the mindset at some point to say yes to Cheryl, right? At 16 years old, I wouldn't have thought, being a 16-year-old teen mom, I wouldn't have thought that I would be here today, right? Being in a home of physical, emotional, sexual abuse, I wouldn't have thought that I would be here today. Being an
Right.
ex-wife of someone that I married that looked like the very environment that I thought I was escaping, I wouldn't be here today. Fast forward, no longer in that marriage, but married 25 years to my best friend, right?
All right.
Enjoying my adult children and my beautiful grandchildren, them reaching out to me today saying, hey, what are we doing today? Because they like being around their mom. Like that just, if you would have told me back then that this is who I could be, I'd probably look at you and say I could be whatever I want to be. But in the back of my mind, doubting that this probably would be where I would be, right? And so, with that being said, what's next for Miss Leah?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm working on my degree for social work and long range goal. I want to be a therapist. And
Absolutely.
I'm just right now, I have about a year and a half left before I'll get my bachelor's. And I'm kind of
Right.
looking at programs.
Hmm.
I'm thinking about writing a grant.
Love
And
it.
I want to write a grant for some homeless people to have some housing in my
Hmm.
community. Um, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. Is it anything that you would like to ask me or for me to share before we ask you for any lasting imparting words that you would like to share just to our audience?
No, I
Okay.
think we've covered. Um, I think we allow people to know what it is,
Hmm.
what we did,
Hmm.
and where we're at now. And um, I fully support therapy. And I just think that before you say no, I would just advise you to just give it a try. It doesn't have to be long term. Just go in and just talk to somebody a couple of times a month and just see what you can get. I mean, for some people it works, for some it don't. But for me, I wouldn't have the life I live today if I didn't participate in not just recovery um, from substance abuse. I'm recovering from, some inner things that
Yeah,
is allowing me to thrive.
absolutely. And I love that you decided to look at your root causes because people think that um, the issue and they focus on the alcoholism or the substance and they don't realize that these are people, whole people, and those things are secondary to life.
Yeah.
And if we touch on life, we don't ever have to talk about addiction. I don't know, but I mean, if you think back over your therapeutic journey, I don't think that addiction was the main thing in the room with you,
Oh no.
right? Addiction probably was barely talked about because that wasn't the root cause, right?
Was
That's a symptom of sickness. There's
but it
something
take you to get some therapy to know that,
right. That
you
and
know.
that's it. It's kind of like, and listen, every therapist is not for everybody. And I am the first therapist that will admit that when clients sit down on the couch across from me or the chair across me, or if we're sitting on the chair or the couch together, my conversation with them is listen, every therapist is not a good fit. That
That's
includes
right.
me. And if ever this doesn't feel therapeutic for you, if ever you feel like you're not getting something out of being in this space with me, please let me know because it is my heart's desire that you're exactly where you're supposed to be to get exactly what you're supposed to get. Otherwise, it's a waste of your time and mine. And I guess like for me, I'm just that therapist is gonna be like, listen, it is what it is. This is what it is. And so I'm not a good fit for everybody either because if you're ready to work, I'm ready to work. If you're not, I'm gonna let you know you're not ready to work. And some people need that, and some people need a different approach. I think I am a therapist that's pretty eclectic in that I'm also a therapist that's kind of like let's meet you where you are, but you
Yeah.
definitely have to be able to share where that is, right? And so it's truly a blessing to be on the journey. I know for me becoming a therapist, I kind of thought about when I went through all the stuff I went through, and either I looked around and I didn't see anyone that looked like me that I felt like could even begin to understand where I am, because that's important too.
Yeah.
Um, Life lessons teaches us, and it also teaches us how to share with others, right? We're not blessed to just be to be blessed. We're blessed to be a blessing. So look at where you've come from and ask yourself, is there anything I need to do in that space, right? And so that's where I found my desire to become a therapist. It was like, wait a minute, where was these people when I needed them? I didn't see people that looked like me, that sounded like me. And then that meant I had to go into spaces and pretend for a second. And to me, that's not the beginning of authenticity and transparency. And so I didn't have that. And then let's be clear, even though I didn't have anyone out there that looked like me, those that didn't was way out of my price range, way out of my bracket. And I wasn't getting, anyone saying, hey, I really want to help you, so let's do this, or let's talk about this, or let's figure out how to make this happen. And so I'm really grateful and honored and privileged to be in the space to be able to offer that. For you, Leah, one thing I would like for you to share on our way out is you shared words of wisdom, any things additional that you would share, and if not, we'll end on a fabulous note of you sharing like some fun facts about Leah.
Okay, fun facts. I love the zip line.
Woo!
Um, I am a great bowler. I usually average about 200 points a game.
Okay.
And I like a great novel.
Awesome. What are you reading?
I am reading a book by David Da Vinci. And
Okay.
right now, I'm probably on page 32. I just started, but it's moving.
That's okay.
It's moving.
That's okay. It's moving according to the way you need it to move, right?
Yes.
Yes. Listen, guys, I want to thank you so very much for tuning in on today and listening to Miss Leah as she shared her beautiful therapeutic journey. Sounds like it's a continued journey for her. I love the fact that she's wanting to pay it forward to become a therapist. I can only imagine how therapy has impacted her life. But I do want to thank you guys for joining us on today with Elevate with Dr. Cheryl on Motivation Radio. I look forward to you guys connecting with me. If you have any questions, if you want to join the show, listen, no topic is offhand. Feel free to reach out. You guys can reach me at the Tree of Life Wellness Center, DFW, at gmail.com. You can also reach me at Completely Fit AHL at yahoo.com. And you guys can also hit me on my socials, the Tree of Life BCW or completely _fit _memory free _care. And you can always give me a call at 214-912-2614. Again, thank you for joining us on Elevate with Dr. Cheryl on Motivating Radio. Mwah. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
You are listening to Elevate with Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.